Okay, squad battles of Vietnam. Getting started. What I'm going to do is I'm actually, even with all of the squad battles that I've played, which by the way, almost, probably 95, well, the vast overwhelming majority of my plays of squad battles have been recorded here. So the whole journey has been covered here. So I purchased Advance of the Reich. Unexpectedly found I liked it and kept purchasing more and more. I just got Vietnam here recently. I think this is the 10th title or so, something like that. Squad battles, absolutely in my collection of favorite games, and unexpected. Sometime I'm going to tell the story of how I even wound up here. This was supposed to be a very brief pit stop as I went off to another game, but lo and behold, I never got to that other game. Here I have been diverted for month after month after month of playing these great squad battles. However, I wasn't so happy with my performance in Tour of Duty, which is the other Vietnam War title that I got first, or that I got before this one. Wasn't so happy with my performance there, so I'm thinking that maybe because of the Vietnam War setting, maybe it'll be useful to start here, Vietnam. I expect to play a lot of this title, Vietnam, as well as Tour of Duty, but I kind of like to, as much as I can, play these two in order. Just play the Vietnam game generally before Tour of Duty. I mean, I'm not trying to say that strictly. I did buy Tour of Duty first, but I expect to play a lot of this. But again, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything for the Vietnam era. I don't think I used my helicopters very well at all in Tour of Duty. So anyways, maybe going through this getting started video, I hope it's pretty quick. I mean, my experience is pretty quick. Obviously, I know a lot of the basics. Okay, so I am unusually, I'm going to get started with the started or getting started scenario. I have the getting started document here on the tablet, reading along. Again, I'm not going to go into details of stuff that I've already picked up to a sufficient degree, I think. All right, let's see. So new, get started, turns. Description. Now, the one thing I actually don't want to change, I've already selected. This is one of the first things I did when I loaded up and I patched this game. Is I went ahead and selected. So I haven't even played a scenario yet, and I went ahead and selected all the optional rules. Then I got the idea of playing the getting started scenario. I don't think I'm going to unselect these. I think I'm going to just go ahead and play with them. Which I doubt is how you're supposed. Alright, so now let me get to the getting started. I doubt you're going to play with any of those in the getting started document. So by default, get the main program going. You get the file selection dialog. That's what we already did. Select started.scenario. There's the scenario description. Click OK. Now we're at the AI selection dialog. Alright, so since we're going to play as the Allies, select automatic with fog of war. Okay, I will do that for this getting started scenario. This will cause the computer to play as the communist side. Later on, experiment with optional rules. Okay, so they do say later experiment with optional rules. Since I've already played, now as a standard, I just play with them all. I'm going to leave them. So click OK. All right. Battlefield will be drawn on the screen. Turn dialog will appear. That's one of 12 there. Allied turn. keep track of the turn duration of the battle. Click anywhere in the dialogue to close it. You will see that you are in command of a company of Marines. Alright, right here. Okay, so looks like they have that one selected. Okay, you'll see you're in command of a company of Marines with the objective of taking the village in the lower right corner of the map. Lower right corner of the map. Right there, okay. All those objectives there. As you click around the map area, which I'm going to do, you'll notice that list of units appear at the bottom of the screen. Okay, obviously. But I am going to review my forces here. Use each location, their weapons, and their condition. So, Captain Larson, Echo, Company 214, Infantry. Well, sorry, these are Marines, BLT. Battalion Landing Team. Lieutenant Folkman. First Platoon, Echo 214. Let's see. Okay, first squad, first platoon, Echo Company 214. So a 10-man squad, M16s, 7 M16s, 2 M79 grenade launchers, M60 light machine, 1 M60 light machine gun, 7 M72 Laws light anti-tank weapons. All right, I'm going to continue on here. See a variety of units and weapons. Yeah, Captain Larson is the company commander. He carries no weapon. Why in the heck is it? That's interesting. Alright, I won't stop on details. When I was a company commander, I always had a weapon. Anyways. 2-liter, carries an M16. So, the Lieutenant Folkman, which, by the way, that says quality. A quality has an M16. I'll go in order here, just as if I were playing this for the first time. I mean, squad battles for the first time. Find this list, you'll see a squad of 10 men, and they're armed with all those things I just went over. Note, okay. Obviously, if the list goes off the screen here, there are little red arrows there to help you scroll laterally through them. Okay, train box, rice paddy, elevation of 0 meters. That's 0 meters off the ground. Protection of value of 6. It's a little different. The document. Alright, elevation 0 meters. That's terrain elevation, and then visibility 50 hexes, which is, if I remember correctly, in squad battles, that is absolutely normal. That's that corresponds, I think, to 2 kilometers. I think these are 40-meter hexes, so that would be 2 kilometers, which, by the way, because I've done a lot of computations for my own design. I did a lot of computations a couple years ago. I will be picking that up someday. 2 kilometers is realistic for identifying human-sized figures on flat terrain. Yeah, flat, clear terrain. All right, that's a little aside. All right. At this point, wait, I want to look at my force real quickly. Although there'll be a lot of duplication. So we've got lieutenant for 2nd platoon, squad, third, or 2nd squad, 3rd squad, and bazooka team. Bazooka team, 2nd platoon, Echo Company. What is that like? Crew 2. I'm trying to remember what 4. Man, I wish I could have the user's manual open at the same time. Can't remember what the 4. There's probably a minimum. Is there a minimum crew, and then a full crew? Yeah, I can't remember. Reliability B, range 8, lethality 90, penetration 120, 3.5 inch heat, round ammunition, a 6-man. Oh, 2 weapons there. I was about to say 6 men for a bazooka. Okay. So does that 2 weapons, is that 2 crews, and the minimum to not have a penalty is 4? I mean, that makes some sense. All right. All right, then we have first platoon, and yeah, first platoon. Okay, and then okay, so yeah, so it is a lot of duplication, which is understandable. It's a Marine infantry well, yeah, I guess it is an infantry company, but again, battalion landing team. All right. At this point, you're ready to advance and attack the village lower right. Before you can perform any of the basic actions, such as moving and firing, you must select units, and the action applies to, or that the action applies to. Selection can occur in two ways. You can double-click in a given location. Boom, boom. Sound effects for free, and select all units in that location. Or you can individually select and deselect units in the unit list. Double click on the location and select all units. Select all of the units there. So, okay, Larson. There. Having selected the units, right click on the map in adjacent locations. Let's see, looks like he's moving. Oh, okay, so we go adjacent, moves through the rice paddies there. There's rice paddies. And moves there. Okay. You'll notice the units moving to the new location. Successively right-click adjacent hexes until they reach the end of their. So here's the movement allowance. Right. Move 8 points. Remaining. Move 8 points remaining. Move 6 points remaining. Advance with several of your units towards the bottom of the screen towards your objective. As you move your units, you will notice the unit movement value displayed in the unit list will decrease, changing from green to yellow and finally to red as you move. If you attempt to exceed your movement capability as turned, there's a message. All right, obviously that's a problem. All right, so initially the enemy in the village. Okay, so I am going to move my units now. So let me see if they can go one more. Okay, boom. I get the error beep. Movement allowance exceeded. Okay, there we go. So now, of course, I'm going to hold and drag. That's the other way you can move. So I double click on the hex to select them all, and then I drag and drop, and they move as far as they can towards that. As if I remember correctly, it will move according only to the least amount of movement points expended, I believe, which will have nothing to do with exposing itself to the enemy or anything like that. Something to remember. So it looks like they're all basically. See, I forgot to select the unit there. See, he went this way instead of this way because it was cheaper to go to this hex first. So let me do something. Well, I guess there isn't another example. Let's move this guy there. Now, let's say I want to move this guy here. If I drag and drop, he's going to go out here into the, was it grass? High grass? Then down here, let's say I want him to follow the rice paddy. This is where I would want to do, I want to direct him this way, and then I can drag and drop. Okay. Okay. So, all right. Initially, the enemy in the village is hidden from view. They will only become visible if they give their location away by firing at you. However, this doesn't prevent you from firing at them first. To learn how to fire, let's take the platoon leader and have him fire into the village. First, make sure that you have selected the leader, Fulcrum. That's, whoops. Oh, what do you know? There's wheel zoom right there. Oh, that's handy. Again, my normal thing is I have hex outlines. I don't like to play with hex outlines, so I have hex outlines off. I have background sounds off. I have battle sounds on. That should be on. Combat sounds on. And I don't have auto scroll on. I find that so annoying. Alright, so now Fulcrum, right there. I'm going to select Fulcrum. Let's picture of his weapon will be shown brighter if he is selected, like that. You select other units, same location if you like, as that won't prevent him from firing. The easy way to toggle the fire mode is to hold down the control key. If you do, you'll notice that the cursor there turns to a reticle and aiming circle. Alternatively, you can click on the fire mode button at the left end of the toolbar. Same thing. I like to use the control key. Once you are in fire mode, position the cursor a short distance from your location and right click to cause the leader you have selected to fire on that location. Okay, so I have Fulcrum selected. I press the control key. I have the what they call it, aiming circle, and then I fire. I right click on the target hex and it fires. You'll notice that the firing uses movement points. Okay. And so your ability to fire will determine how much you move. Likewise, firing will affect your ability to move during that turn. Your ability to fire at locations on the map is determined by several factors, such as, in some cases, by your ability to see the target location from your current location, but also by the range of your weapon. If you right-click in the unit list, okay, so I'm putting the cursor down here and I'm right-clicking. The unit displays show you the important information about the weapons. There we have the. Let's talk about Fulcrum's M16. Reliability D, pretty bad. That's A best to F worst. Range in hexes. Lethality, the ability of the weapon to cause casualties. Penetration, the ability of the weapon to penetrate protection. Some weapons, such as the M79 right there, have the ability to fire at targets you cannot see as long as they're within range. You know that because it there it is. The fire number has an asterisk after it. I have that ability. Okay, before advancing, by the way, while I'm here, this also, let's see, there, +1 means that there's another kind of ammunition you can choose. So right now it's loaded with 40mm HE, but there's one more ammunition type you can choose. So if I were to unselect Fulcrum, if I select the M79, I go up here to command and I toggle or select weapon load. That's the other version, canister. I think, if I remember correctly, canister is only valuable in adjacent hexes, I think. So this is the normal indirect fire HE 40mm. That's normal for a handheld or rifle style grenade launcher like that. Alright, so I'm going to unselect that. Okay, so before advancing the enemy turn, there's one very important point you need to understand. By default, your units are standing up in a normal posture. They're all up. They all start up. They are all up. They're in an up posture. Most efficient mode for movement. However, this makes you more vulnerable to enemy fire. So normally, as you advance into combat, you want to ensure that you are on ground. To toggle this mode, first select the units. So I will select back to Larson, Folkman, and his squad there. Click on the toggle ground button on the toolbar right there. Well, here's the pop-up. Toggle ground. They went to ground. Once you do this, you'll notice two things happen. First, on the map, your units on the ground are now shown with a white stripe along the bottom. Now they're down. They're on ground. Also, in the unit list, you'll notice that it says on ground, on ground, on ground. Toggling ground mode a second time will restore. Oh, movement allowance succeeded. Okay. Doing so requires movement points. And note, the feature of toggling ground is also what you will use later on to land and take off in helicopters. Alright, so let's advance to the next turn. That's that button right there. It's going to have me prompt me to save the battle. Just going to give it a name. Started 1. First started scenario. Turn dialog box again. Now it's turn 2 of 12. Alright, as the enemy in the village becomes known to you, you can engage them in firefight. Huh. So I guess I have to move again. So let's move until we make contact. Alright, so I'm going to go... Oh, they're already selected. Now I'm going to use the... oops. Now I'm going to get them up. I'm going to drag and drop and move them towards the rice paddies down here. Now let's move these guys. Move these guys. Just move them all down there towards the objective. Alright, they'll go down on ground, and they'll go down on ground, just the guys on the, I'll just have them go, the guys on the edge of the rice paddies. You know, actually actually that doesn't make any sense, because the rice paddies, they have nothing, you know, there's no elevation above. There is some protection, but actually, as I went through them, I should have put them on ground. I'm going to play this more realistically, even though it is a getting started video, or scenario, and video. Let's play this more realistically. Now they're all on ground. That's more. Alright, still don't see the enemy. Oops. Well, that's going to take getting used to. So now we'll go advance the turn again, allied turn 3. Where's the enemy? Alright. Now I'm going to have the soldiers pass through here. So I'm selecting one at a time, having them go up, having them move, and then I'm having them go back down again. That's what I'm doing here. Still have these guys. Now here I'm going to have them move on ground. You can do that. It just takes more movement points. I'm just going to have them move one adjacent hex and stay on ground. Actually up here, this is another one of my favorite ones. Use movement points. It highlights in red units that have already expended movement points. So like that. Alright. Have them go up. Alright, I'm just waiting to now the company commander will lead the way. Wow. Next turn. 4 12 and still go. You'll be trying to see. Well, alright. Still gonna keep going. Now they're going, there we go. So I'd say now we're to the edge of the rice paddy before the village. Alright, so enemy exposed. Unknown number of men. Armed with AK-47s. They're in a village hex. Height of that terrain in the hex is 3 meters. Protection 6, which is actually the same as the rice paddy. These must be small, flimsy huts, I guess. OCR codes, but I don't think... that probably don't matter here. There are terrain codes. I never remember them. Elevation 0, visibility 50 hex is still. Is that? Okay, and improved position, which has its own 8 defensive value. Okay. Alright, so now let's say, as the enemy in the village becomes known to you, now I know there's enemy there. You can engage them in a firefight. You can also fire at seemingly empty locations if you suspect the enemy is located there. I've got to get used to firing in empty locations when it's appropriate. Something that, don't even get me started on games that don't allow that. In a fog of war, you'll get only incomplete information about the enemy. We're playing with fog of war. That's why it says X number of men. We don't know some number of men in that unit. Watch for a couple of indicators associated with both your units and the enemy. Pinned. When a unit is pinned, so yeah, see, I was not pinned, and when the enemy fired at me, as a matter of fact, I didn't even go to ground. When a unit is pinned, it can continue firing at reduced effectiveness, but it will be unable to move towards the enemy, and if it moves away, it will become demoralized, disrupted. A unit can move, but as far as effectiveness is reduced, one half by this state. But you can move towards the enemy when you're disrupted. I always thought disrupted was a strange term here. It seems to me more like disorganized. And then there's demoralized. The unit cannot move towards the enemy and its fire effectiveness is reduced to 1/4 effectiveness. You can... Okay. Then there is a full... I'm just reading the Getting Started document. There is a fuller user's manual. It explains a lot more details. Several point objectives in the village. 10 points. Objective 10 points. Objective 10 points. Same and same. Here's the jump map. Okay, it is 4. Make sure I wasn't missing an objective. What is this? Oh, impassable. I was wondering, what is that over there? That's interesting. Okay. Okay, so however, you also need to avoid taking excessive casualties in the taking of these objectives. You can use the info menu, in particular the victory dialog, to determine how you're doing. Info, victory, here it is. First side's the Allied side, my side. That's what the victory levels are determined for. At this point, you understand the basics of movement and firing. That's funny, how did I skip firing? Oh, no, I did. I fired into the empty hex. Alright, so I'll continue on with that. So, where was I? Well, okay, they can't fire because they already moved. That's enough. They expended enough movement points that they have no fire left this turn. So it would make sense to put them on ground because they're already spotted by the enemy. Now here, this could be at least a temporary base of fire element, at least for now. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to open up now with the 60s. So again, press the control key to get the reticle there. Put it on the target and right click. That's one fire attack. It subtracted 1 here, and it subtracted a portion of the unit's movement points, 8 points in this case. I don't plan on moving from here, so I'll go ahead and fire some more. Notice the effectiveness goes down. And one more. Now I've used up all my 3 fire attacks for this turn, which also correspondingly uses up all of the units' movement points. Okay, so the enemy returned fire, but didn't cause any damage at all. I know that because nothing's changed down here. Now here, these 2 units in lead are going to be my base of fire against that enemy. By the way, range 27, so this target is well within range. Same thing. Oh, the high grass is in the way. Okay, now I'm going to do movement and fire. So I'm going to grab my unit. I'm going to select them. I double-clicked on the hex, which highlighted it down here in the unit display. I'm going to have them go up. I'm going to have them move 1 hex. And I'm going to have them get down, and they have 12 points remaining. Now I'm going to unselect the whole unit, and I'm just going to select the M16 light machine gun, and now I'm going to fire. So that used up its one available fire attack after having moved 1 hex. Now it's the unit's movement value is down to 0. Now it is interesting that even though the movement, an experiment, unselect the M60. This is one experiment. I don't plan to do a lot of experimentation here. I plan to just follow the getting started document here. But yes, it does. That is interesting, which makes sense. The fire is still available because it's the same time period. Yeah, I'm not going to explain that in a lot of detail, but now I understand that. Wow, that's just barely in range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the M16 has a range of 5. Okay. So, done there. Turn on my use movement points again. So again, this reminds me, yeah, they fired, they moved and took fire, I mean. And then these guys fired, and these guys moved and fired. So now we'll go to this unit. We'll have them, I'm just going to push fairly aggressively, actually. So I'm going to go there, and no fire left, so they can go down on ground there. See another bazooka team go up and get as far as they can. You know, I'm going to go down. It's all flat terrain, so I'm going to go up, move, and down, up, move, and down, double click, up, move, and down. So that is everybody except for back to the company commander's position there. They're not going to wait. They're going to get into the fire. So they're on ground. They know the enemy's there now, so they're just going to move 1 hex on ground, which had them expend a lot more movement points. Now they're all that moving 1 hex on while staying on ground through the rice paddies took all of the fire capability, fire attacks for this turn for that squad, but actually the lieutenant still has his M16 1 attack. We're actually going to use it if he can see. No, okay. He does not have a line of sight there. Actually, if I press the S hotkey, or I won't talk about hotkeys yet. I'll select the hex because I want to know if Lieutenant Folkman can see the enemy position there. So I select the hex and I go to, where is it? Visible hex says right there. So it's shaded out, so he can't. It does not go through there. Okay. It goes out to there, it goes out to there, goes down there, goes all the way back there, but not through there to the enemy there. There. Alright, next turn. Alright, turn 5 of 12. Okay, at this point you understand the basics of movement and firing, so you're able to play much of the current scenario. As you advance in other scenarios, you'll also want to read in the user's manual and other documentation about other important features, including vehicles. There are many in the game, including tanks, personnel carriers, and helicopters. Helicopters are capable of flying and carrying passengers, as well as providing fire support. Artillery and air support. You'll have artillery and air support that you can use from off-board, off-map. Notice in the file selection dialog there is information about the size and complexity of the scenario. On the Allied side, given in the description using the following terminology: squad, the scenario squad level, company level, battalion level, vehicles. The scenario uses vehicles such as tanks and trucks. Helicopters, the scenario uses helicopters. Support, the scenario includes air and artillery support. Let's take a look at that. I think they're talking, so file menu, selection. Here are so let's look at option on, where are they? Okay, battalion helicopters. So that tells you this is a battalion size scenario. which I guess is for the Allied side. About the size and complexity of the scenario on the Allied side. Okay, and this this scenario has helicopters. So let's go down to battalion helicopters. Grab another one, battalion support. So there's battalion size scenario on the Allied side, and it has off-board support for the Allies. Way company has vehicles. These are going to be interesting. These are caisson hills. Those are going to be interesting. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of interesting battles here. Yep. All right, so that's what they mean there. That's nice. So help you decide whether you're ready to play the given scenario based on your level of understanding of the rules in the game. Wow, that is it. That is it for the getting started manual, actually. That's all I intended to do here. So I didn't realize the getting started video didn't have helicopters. I guess maybe I'll look for a small scale scenario that has helicopters and get a little bit more practice on that.